So thank you so much for joining. My name is Alex. I'm a founder of SpaceTech in Gulf, and I will be your co-moderator today. So let me introduce our moderator. So again, I do have some experience in the space tech, mainly in analytics. You can find several articles of mine related to regional cooperation in GCC in the local media. And like a year ago, I decided to found this Space Tech in Gulf initiative that actually I will present a little bit later. And this is our first webinar. I wanna thanks for guys who join us as the speakers today. That's my pleasure to host you. Another speaker is Boris. Boris, if you can join, say a few words about yourself.
So I'm Boris. I am in the Gulf for 12 years. I'm in the technology sector for about 20 years, mostly focusing on operations, governance, and sales. And of course, human capital. So I'm helping to build the next generation in Saudi Arabia and Emirates. I'm also big passionate of this topic in the region. So that's why I joined Alex today on this webinar. So we can share the expertise from the region, also get some introductions from the people who would like to partake on these activities in the region in the future, and also towards the end do some Q&A and networking. Before we move on, everybody was assigned 10 minutes. I would like to respect it for the others, so everybody has a fair share. I will have a stopwatch, so in case you are over, I will just do a hand gesture, and everybody will have a space for Q&A towards end, so we can talk after. There will be plenty of space after the main topics. Okay, so happy webinar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that's our agenda for today. Again, the webinar is focused on space industry in Saudi Arabia. But basically, today we're going to speak about GCC region in general. So we have 7 speakers who will be speaking about satellites, rocket construction, even investments, and the latest presentation will be done by me. I will be speaking about service integration in Saudi Arabia. So again, we have 7 presentations, please 10 minutes maximum. In the end, we have a Q&A session. Boris will moderate. If you have any questions, I'm referring to those guys who are watching us today. Please feel free to drop the message in the chat. We will pick the most interesting and relevant questions, and we'll ask them in the end of this presentation session. So our first speaker. Okay, sorry. Let me briefly tell about our initiative first. So we're SpaceTech in Gulf. It's a non-profit organization. The goal and the main kind of interest of what we're doing, actually, we're space enthusiasts, and we wanna basically bring light to the space industry in the region. Provide more information about technologies that are available, and basically attract more relevant players out of GCC in GCC. So basically, this region have all the possibilities to develop this industry and see it thrives in the future. So basically, what we're helping, how we can help you guys is please drop me a message if you're interested in articles or interviews on our website, spacetechingulf.com. We're also going to have several webinars ahead. So basically, the next webinar will be in December. Again, I will drop a message in our LinkedIn page, so you can check. If you want to participate, please participate. I'm referring to those who is watching us today. Okay, so our first speaker it's Ahmed. He's a co-founder of SARSATS X. He's so that's a GCC company from Saudi Arabia and UAE, as I understood. So SARSAT is focused on design and development of small satellites for Earth observation. Ahmed,
Yes.
are you with us? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be very
Sure.
happy to see your presentation. Let me stop sharing my screen, and the floor is yours.
I hope you can see my screen.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the time and for the invitation, Alex. I really appreciate it. So my name is Ahmed Zoueri. I'm the Chief Executive at SARSAT X, co-founder and Chief Executive for the moment. At SARSAT, we're providing reliable data from space for better decisions on Earth. So SARSAT is a SpaceTech startup based in Saudi Arabia and UAE. Actually, we are a spin-off KAUST. KAUST is King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. And also we graduated from the UAE New Space Innovation Program. It's an accelerator where they shape and crystallize the space ideas within the agency, UAE agency, back in 2020. And also we graduated from Taqaddam. This is, you can consider it as the YC of the Middle East, Taqaddam 2020. We are supported officially by the Saudi Space Agency, MISC Accelerator, and CST. And we are so happy to receive their official support from these fantastic agencies, CST and Saudi Space Agency, as well the UAE Space Agency. So our main focus is to design and develop Earth observation payloads and doing also analytics in order to provide insights to the end users to serve agriculture, environment, and of course other sectors that's growing in the Earth observation market. So basically, you know, you can appreciate the importance, how satellite imagery is so important for many sectors. Like I said to you, in environment, logistics, agriculture as well. But the challenge here right now, that this satellite imagery is not reliable, meaning that it's not available all the time because the optical cannot see unless the clouds clear, and also cannot see during night. And we are in the region, in the MENA region, have some challenges related to this type of data. So we believe that there is more than 66% data is lost. And one of the fantastic, let's say, tools or data that can solve problems here is synthetic aperture radar, that I will share more detail about this sensor. Such problem that we are facing in the MENA region is you know, we need to have a reliable insights for our national waters in order to see what happens. Also for the deforestation, as you know, the Saudi Arabia is looking forward to have to plant more than 1 billion trees with the Saudi Green Initiative. And we need to have the right technologies to monitor the afforestation and deforestation to monitor this objective. Other challenges that we are looking for to contribute to solve these challenges is the bilge dumping in the Red Sea and the Gulf. So satellite imagery is a reliable ones, not with you know, that is occasionally we need to have a reliable sensor up in the space to provide such important analytics. And one of the foundational important sensors is synthetic aperture radar. It's a unique sensor that can see through clouds and during night. It's a known technology, but what we aiming for is to design an affordable and modular system that could be linked to a small satellite. So the market is growing each year, and we believe that there is a fair amount of demand for this type of data, and it's growing. So as you know, we're not the only SAR company in the globe. We know that ISI is the front runner, Capella Space as well, and another fantastic companies in Japan, and also for in the old traditional ones. So what we are differentiate ourselves into two competition parameters, if you will. So we are MENA focus. That's the main competition parameter that we are trying to make ourselves good at. And another thing is, we're not only providing data, we are providing analytics, because this is what we feel the customer right now, they want to know, to have more, to get insights out of this satellite imagery, not only raw data. So our ultimate vision is to have our optimized Earth observation constellation for the MENA region that is free shutter control with higher visits, and we can deliver insights, quick insights, not only raw data, for the MENA region. Yes, and we believe that's there is a right timing for that. Access to space is getting more affordable, and there is a growing demand because data-driven decisions require that, and technology is getting better and better by time. And you know that the space sector is growing here in the region, that the Saudi Space Agency has been established and organized, and we know that it would be real opportunities for new space companies. Towards our aim to launch our first commercial Earth observation satellites in the MENA region, we focus on developing the airborne SAR. So we succeeded to launch imaging campaigns with a small MVP that will reach that 1 meter GSD. And this is what the sample of the image that we developed. Our roadmap is fairly simple. We are looking for launching our Earth Life by the end of this year. It's a web application that can provide analytics on board. And also to launch our first commercial system by the end of 2025. It would be a demo mission. Actually, this would be test our onboard analytics using optical payload, but our mission is to how to transfer this capability from optical onboard analytics based on optical payload towards onboard analytics based on SAR. So we need to test it first with this simple optical system. So yeah, that's what we believe. We believe that we need to focus on analytics and data, and that's the combination of software and hardware will give you more autonomy. And this is our philosophy for that. So yes, thank you so much, and that's me.
Ahmed, thank you very much. Great presentation, and you are 1 minute ahead of your time, so good timing as well.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you so much. Ahmed, can you please tell us about your background? What university, what degrees, and so on?
Yeah, sure. Good. So I hold PhD in aerospace engineering. My sub background with that aerospace engineering, I develop guidance, navigation, control algorithms for rendezvous activities. So my passion is RPO. That is what I think that's my next journey. But yeah, I graduated from King Abdulaziz University.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your presentation. Let me.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me share my screen. So, okay. So our next speaker is Jakub. He's CEO of Ground.com. So it's a startup from Czech Republic that specialized on Earth observation. So we're having second company in this industry. So Jakub, the floor is yours. Please tell us more about your startup and what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope you hear me and see my screen. So good afternoon, I'm Jakub and I'm one of the co-founders of Ground.com. So I was asked to share with you a little bit of a story about the need, what the ground station is and what is necessary, because as we heard, satellites can do actually really the nice miracles in this age. So it started back then, our journey that I was a software engineer with the passion for space. I think that all of us here have some passion for space. And I converted actually to the business with a software company, and the first combination of technology and aerospace or aviation was the first startup in 2018 in aviation. It was based in Switzerland, so it's like a system for booking for private helicopters. And 2-3 years ago, I left the execution of this company, so they are like profitable and running autonomously at this moment, because I met one astrophysicist in the US who actually told me about CubeSats. And then I found out that the space is actually not so far away. And then I found out that there are like the university teams or like the commercial companies like working on the satellites, and it's not already like so far away. So then I also checked that actually the market is going really like multiplying, so it's really quickly developing. And the report says right now that the amount of the satellites will multiply a few times in the next decade. But the problem is that to operate these satellites, you need the ground station. So technically the antenna and some related equipment, which is used to communicate and operate the satellites, to download all this valuable data, which is sensing, or to operate to find out if the satellite is okay. So when I had an opportunity to visit a few teams operating their satellites before, it was this like a mission control room, it was like a smaller than on this picture. But definitely there are like a few screens. When you see the trajectory, then you have the connection on, satellite is passing, so you do this data flowing. And then I realized that, okay, so then it was quiet. So after 15 minutes, actually there was like, okay, so satellite actually is below the horizon. So now we don't have a connection. We don't know actually satellite is still okay. And we can just analyze the data we got. So for a month and years, you work on satellites, and then actually you have just like this short time windows, and you need to wait for another hours to actually have, again, the communication if you have one of these antennas. So it's caused because if you have one antenna, for example, in Czech Republic, of course, you can communicate with the satellite only when it's like traveling around Europe. And of course, like you can use, or you would need, the many antennas like these, especially if you have constellations or if you have this data heavy missions, for example, like SAR imaging or optical imaging, because then you have a lot of data and you need actually a lot of time to transfer them down. So, but this is actually how we started actually the company. We developed and installed ground stations for our customers, and it's also one of our connections like to the Gulf region, because as we actually have a plan to have these units like globally, one of the locations is also like in the Gulf region. But the problem is that to build stations around the world for a company itself, which is operating satellites and needs a lot of these antennas around the world, is simply inefficient, unless you are a government customer or you have different motivation than the cost efficiency. So then you can lease time of the existing stations, because they are the networks which actually developed from previous mostly government and defense programs, and now they are like fully commercial. But it's pretty tricky to find enough availability, or when there is availability, it's very expensive to get enough time or all the time you would need. So then you realize that the problem is actually that the current products are inefficient for scaling. So this is the business objective. It's not about technology, but the business point is actually it's inefficient for scaling. So it's imagine that you are trying to build an affordable taxi service, yeah, for like a new space companies, but you are going only to buy the Lamborghinis, yeah. So you will actually like not be able to really, like be very, very cost efficient. So that's why we have developed ground stations which are, of course, affordable. So it's like a push on the cost efficiency. But also the important aspects are that it needs to be really quick to manufacture and quick to deploy, because there are also other parameters, you know, how many ground stations you can develop or manufacture during the year. But our customers, the satellite operators, you know, they don't need like all these details like about the optimization. They just need to communicate. So that's why we provide them with a complex communication service, and they just pay per use. So it's the same like with the telco operators. You don't care about actually, you know, how they optimize their telco towers and everything. You just want to have coverage, a lot of coverage for reasonable cost for a data plan. So you have like various missions, and it has different requirements. Sometimes you just need a cheap, affordable connection a lot of the time, so multiple hours a day. Yeah, not just like a few 15-minute windows. Sometimes you actually prefer a secure connection for a few minutes, and you want really to have hardware and this antenna only on your premises when it's really secure. So there are different motivations, for example, security, or maybe sometimes it's independence. You just want to have your own hardware, even if there are antennas of some other players around the world. So that's how it crystallized our offering to have like two pillars. One is development and installation of ground stations itself. Yeah, for these like motivations, usually like the satellite operators would like to have some antennas like on their premises. And for this cost-efficient solution, we are also operating network of stations which provide service, something like a telco operator. Like we build these towers, such as satellite operators can just communicate with the satellites. So that's also this like a connection to the Gulf region, as I mentioned. At this moment, a few of our units are being installed in this area. And you know, by principle, when you would like to build a company which is some like a global telco operator, you actually like need to cover like all various areas in the world where you have partners and clients. So that's our direct connection. And last but not least, what I learned that when I transferred my capacity from a technology enthusiast to businessman is that to build something technical and to make it working is one challenge. But to make it as a profitable business requires totally different skills. So our team combines on one side technical experience from European Space Agency, academia, research institutions. We also been we are alumni of the European Space Agency Business Incubator. We are led and consulted by serial entrepreneurs in the space industry and controlled by our investors with a strong background in finance. So that's why we are combining also like what we like, the technology enthusiasm, and also building the profitable business. So that's short introduction from our side. If you have any other questions, then I will be happy to reconnect after that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jakub. So we will have a Q&A session towards the end. So if anybody wants to ask a question, you can do it also now or towards the end, but please in the chat so I can document the question and raise it up later. Jakub, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Let me move to our next speaker. Okay, you see my screen, yeah? So it's Mravan, who is co-founder of ART, Advanced Rocket Technology. So they're based in the United Kingdom, but they also are the first startup in Africa and the Middle East who are building rockets. Rockets. So he will tell us more about the rocket business today. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, it's all good.
Right. First of all, I would like to thank SpaceTech and Gulf and you guys for hosting this webinar and inviting us to speak about space launch services in the Middle East. Why do we need them? I am Marwan Mohi. I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of Advanced Rocket Technologies. I will tell you more about it at the end of our talk. But first, let me take you through let me take you in a quick journey. We'll start with the global space market, have some insights and numbers about it. Then we will move to the Middle East, see the future plans and the challenges that faces the Middle East space ecosystem. And of course, we cannot talk about the challenges and obstacles without having a solution for them. And our solution is advanced rocket technologies. So the space market is booming and it's growing. Everybody can see it. Actually, the global space market for the last year was projected to be more than $400 billion with a 7% annual growth. And how many satellites to be launched just by the beginning of next decade? Well, around 18,500 small to medium satellites in just a couple of 6 to 8 years. So you may ask, what about the Middle East? Well, the Middle East is going in with full power and full speed, with future plans and big players like Saudi Arabia, Oman, UAE, Egypt, South Africa, and a lot of countries. And to give you an example about it, the demand for small launch services is projected to be around $400 million for the next couple of years. So for the next 2 years, actually. So does it all look for the Middle East regarding going to space? Well, not actually. There is a couple of challenges and obstacles that faces the region, and let's go through it by having an example. Let's imagine that you are a project manager. You were assigned to work on developing a spacecraft, a plan, financial plan, a timeline, etc. So, and you are limited by budget. You are from Africa. You are from third world country, and you have limited budget. So you have all your plan, you have set your finance, you found your systems, you are good with finance, but you want to launch your spacecraft into space. So, and you're from the Middle East, and the Middle East actually in the middle of the world. So if you are going to launch it, you will send it to America, Europe, Russia, or Asia. So you have big headache to think about shipping your spacecraft in special containers, keep it safe with guards, like rent an airplane, special airplane to fly thousands of kilometers to the required launch site. So this puts a lot of pressure financially and technically on the project, and it may kill it instantly. Imagine if you would be able to save that money in developing the technology or buying more advanced systems. This is regarding logistics and the development. So what about regulations? Is it all good? Well, let's stay with the project management example. You have decided that you want a good spacecraft, a good working spacecraft, so you are going to buy advanced systems, let's say from America, because they have good technology. You all good, you bought it, you are working on your spacecraft, you assembled it, and you are again limited by budget, so you are going to use it, let's say cheap launchers. You've made your research in the market and you found that, let's say, China is a good example. So you packed everything and you're going to send it from China. Well, America will tell you to stop. Well, it will object on launching your spacecraft from China because you are using American gadgets and they don't want their technology to be sent from China. It's their right, actually. It's a secret technology for them. Well, what are you going to do? For me, I don't know, and I don't want to be in such a situation. But we don't need to imagine because this actually happened a couple of months ago when UAE wanted to launch Rashid 2 spacecraft over a Chinese rocket, but they are using American gadgets on the spacecraft. So they are having a couple of challenges over there, and so far I don't know how things went with them. So yeah. So if we want to go to space, if we want to have a complete space ecosystem in the Middle East and Africa, and we want to have a presence In the space, the only way to get to space is through rockets. And we need to have complete system. And the solution is art, because rockets are literally a state of art. They are the most amazing piece of engineering. Advanced rocket technologies were founded last year on the managed to help the Middle East and Africa have a presence in the space by having a gateway, an affordable and accessible gateway to space to serve the private and public sector. Also to enable space access for scientific field and ambitious universities. Plus build a way of space collaboration in the Middle East because it's a new industry and it's a tough one. So we need all to collaborate together through technology, through giving like hands-on experience projects to have like graduates with full knowledge and best experience. So what we offer? We offer launch services, affordable and easy to access, state-of-art rockets. Also, we are working with universities and governments to push the space exploration knowledge in universities, as I said, with hands-on experience projects and advanced and high quality courses. And we're also building cutting-edge technologies with partners in the Middle East to build the rockets of the future. So thank you everyone for listening. If you want to know more about art, you can visit our website, www.art-tech.space. And we are looking to like build space rockets from the Middle East to the Middle East and into space. Thank you everyone.
Marwan, thank you very much. Great presentation. We received a couple of questions, but I want to make sure that if you can send the questions to all on the chat, not just directly, so I can take a note of them. Okay, so the next we will have Patrick from Needronics. Over to you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can you see my presentation?
We do. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. So good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Patrick Laszlo, and I am the project manager at Needronics. And we provide high-tech components for spacecraft. So Needronics is a family company based in Slovakia and Czech Republic. We specialize in design and development of radio and sensoric systems for spacecraft, and we also do CubeSat integration. As a company, we have a lot of experience, and a lot of that experience comes from having 3 ESA projects. 2 as a prime contractor and 1 as a subcontractor to support education with Slovak University of Technology. I would like to take you through our products that could be beneficial for companies building satellites in the Gulf region. I would like to go through our sun sensors, which are our flagship products, through transceiver, earth sensor, onboard computer, and a core sun sensor. So Eagle is our flagship product. It's a power-efficient miniature sun sensor with great performance in a compact design. It has various smart functions, like it can measure its own temperature, and we also provide it with a sensor simulator which can be bought, so that's great for developers so they can test it while they work on the satellite. It has fast lead time. It has flight heritage since 2017. It's very light and it's very precise with low angular noise at 0.09 degrees at 1 Hertz. It's actually 43% smaller by volume compared to the industry leader. And actually, it's highly likely that our sun sensor is the smallest in the world. And it's an essential component of a satellite. And also compared to the industry leader, we have 1/6 of the power consumption under workload. As we know, saving space in satellite is extremely important, mainly for the payload. There is a lot of underutilized space, like perhaps the sides of the satellite. So what's absolutely great is that Eagle can fit between the solar panels of a satellite. It's suitable for accurate sun position determination, CubeSat attitude determination, CubeSat solar panel positioning, and it can be used on nanosatellites, suborbital rockets, balloons, or UAVs, but it was mainly designed with CubeSats in mind. What's actually interesting is that this component, along with another component I will shortly tell you about, was used in a CubeSat mission GRB Alpha, which was a 1U CubeSat, and it was a scientifically important mission because it was the first CubeSat to detect gamma ray burst, and the data was used even by NASA. Another component, our brand new Earth sensor, sun sensor, is Eagle Plus. It's also dual axis fine sun sensor. This one has inherited flight heritage from the Eagle I showed you previously. It's also very lightweight, very small, and this one is even more precise with 0.002 degrees at 1 Hertz. It's actually so precise that we were able to measure angular speed of Earth's rotation with it. And it's very fast. It can do 166 measurements per second. This one uses RS 485 bus. The previous Eagle uses I2C. And this one also has a very interesting function, sample and hold, so they can do a snapshot and you can read the data later. Another interesting product also used in the GRB Alpha mission is Cormorant. It's a CubeSat transceiver. It's also very small. Frequency range is from VHF to UHF. It has flight heritage since 2021. It also has very low power consumption. It has a CSP packet router, so you can route CSP packets between other buses. It has mRadio digipeater and what we call a DNXD, which is a delayed digipeater, which we created here at Nidronix, so you can delay the sending of a message. It also has battery monitor, and as all our components, is also very easy to integrate. Another great thing about it is that you can actually fit 2 cormorants on one PC104 board. It's great for redundancy. One can work as an uplink and the other can do downlink. And if for some reason or something happens to one of them, they can be reconfigured in space. So one does both uplink and downlink. Our next product is Osprey. It's a miniature Earth sensor and provides you with pitch and roll determination, Earth, Sun, and Moon detection. It can also do albedo identification for other subsystems, so they also work great with sun sensors. Their main benefit is usage in Earth's shade, where a sun sensor might not be ideal. And it's great for Earth observation missions and can also do Earth thermal imaging. There's very wide field of view, low power consumption, and exceptional accuracy. And another component is Sparrow. It's a navigation computer. It's an alternative to GNSS solution if you don't need a really precise time source. It also provides real-time satellite position. It simulates NMEA GNSS messages, so you don't need to configure the software of your onboard computer. Benefit is that you do not need any external antennas, so you save some space on the surface of the satellite, perhaps for another solar panel. Sparrow uses CubeSat space protocol for communication. It's very low power consumption, and you can actually fit 4 of these on the PC104 board, and each of them can be configured to do different things. Like one can function as a navigation computer, another one can work with the satellite data and whatever you want to do. And in collaboration with ESA, we are working on another sun sensor. This one is for larger satellites on geostationary orbit with lifetime of more than 15 years. It's robust, it's human failure resistant, it has no power consumption because it's passive. It's pyramidal sun sensor, and there are actually two independent sun sensors in one case, and it's great for safe mode operations and detumbling. As a company, we were part of 8 missions, and we have 5 upcoming missions as a work in progress. And to highlight some of the missions we participated in as a company, our first main mission was the SK-Cube CubeSat. It was the first Slovak satellite. We developed the first version of Eagle for it, our sun sensor. We also developed the antenna system and software for power source unit, and we participated in design integration. And already mentioned scientifically important URB Alpha mission. We supplied the NX-SS3 Eagle sun sensors, our transceiver Cormorant, and we also participated in the design integration. And we also participated on the mission VZW-SAT-2, which is a Czech CubeSat. We also supplied NX-SS3 Eagle sun sensors and RF coaxial assemblies. As a company, we also have our own ground station, NXGS. It has VHF and UHF uplink and downlink, and we also supplied components to more Czech, Polish, and Italian missions. As a company, we have a lot of partners across the industry, from private companies to universities. So thank you for your attention.
Patrick, thank you for your time and really nice presentation. I would really highlight the visuals. It was really neat and clean. Thank you very much. So next we will have Andrei from SpaceTech.
Yes, I'm starting the presentation.
Please go ahead.
Yes, okay. Just a second, I have to find the correct window. So, do you see the presentation?
Yes, we do.
Oh no, I think you see the whole screen.
Your comments as well, yeah.
Yeah. I have to find the correct screen. Ah, here. Okay. Now it's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. So my name is Andrej Farkas. I am branch manager of Slovak part of SpaceTech. SpaceTech is a Czechoslovak company that is, or maybe Slovak-Czech company that is on the market, I think, from 2018. So we are satellite as a service provider to certain, let's say, companies and also research organizations, or maybe also private persons. Our goal is to be in space in less than 6 months. So if I'm correct, our record is about 5 months from signing the contract up to space. It was about 5 months. So our idea is to have a satellite in the space as easy as ordering an Uber. So we can do it like designing the mission together. Then we are prepared to build your satellite, like the whole satellite, from components that are made by ourselves. So we have our research and development team. Then we can book a ride, a space ride for you. So we are in contact with many suppliers of this service, and then we are able to operate your satellite and deliver your data. The problem we would like to solve is there is a shortage of companies that are able to, let's say, fulfill the growing demand for access to space because of shortages of, let's say, components, people, etc. So we would like to, or we are able to provide this service like fastly and flexibly. And also there is not so many flight-proven and reliable satellites components, which we currently have because we were like the part of many missions in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, and others. So we are trying to help our customers to make, let's say, satellites with various budget sizes, knowledge levels, and different needs. So we are trying to provide access to space quickly, efficiently, and effortlessly. So, and we are using our own nanosatellite platform for this. Here you can see some of our products. So we are capable of prepare the satellite, like the structure of the satellite, the PSU, that is our own power supply unit that was built in-house. Also solar panels. We have two types of onboard computers. We have a, let's say, easy one and the deep thought one that is capable of make onboard processing. We have radios like VHF and UHF radio, and also we are working on other platforms, for example, S-band, and also now we are preparing a totally new product that will use Iridium satellite-to-satellite communication. So in our next mission, that we will be the key integrator, GRB beta. So we will have the information about gamma ray burst right away in the time it occurs. Then we have a navigation platform, and also we built a custom antenna system. So now we are capable also to provide the clients with antenna. You can see here our missions. So we started together with the Neutronix, with SKQ. We also cooperated in the GRB Alpha, as mentioned guys from Neutronix, that that GRB Alpha was also mentioned by NASA, so it's a quite nice project. Also on Zlusa 2, that is a Czech Aerospace and Research Center satellite. We also built a satellite for planetarium in Prague, and also satellite for private company BD Sensors, that is in Czech Republic. So they are making pressure sensors, and they would like to have and also some supercaps, and they wanted to make some kind of let's say in orbit validation or demonstration that their product are capable of work in space. And we have now a really nice news. In a couple of days there will be Veronica started. It will be the first private mission that is ordered by private person. It will be a popularization mission with nice payloads, and we will make some heritage also in this mission with some really nice components, and also the mission CroCube, which is now in final stage for qualification. The guys in Zagreb are integrating the satellite. It will be called CroCube. So our products are flight proven. So many of them, or most of them, have TRL-9. Currently, we are operating 5 satellites in orbit. 3 of them started in 2022. And if we are speaking about next 6 months, we will have Veronica, we will have CroCube, and also it looks like we will have GRB Beta, the successor of GRB Alpha, that will be started in next 6 months, I think, or I hope so. Our component is plug and play, so you can buy all the boards and you can build it by yourself, or we can help you with this to build the whole satellite. And we can do it like really fastly, and also for it's competitive, so we have quite nice pricing. And if you just would like to have only, I don't know, one component, you can have it. There is not a problem, but we can help with the whole mission, including procurement of the launch, to make all the paperwork, to provide cooperation to get the frequencies for the satellite operation, etc., etc. Here you can see our core team. The CEO of the company is Jakub Kapuš, and you can see also the other persons that is working with us. Many of them are with us for the last maybe 2-3 missions. So I think it's like really nice regarding our company. Now we started also some nice cooperation with international teams. So we are trying to make a consortium for deep space exploration. So we would like to be a part of some lunar mission. So it can be also really nice. So we, as for now, we are signed some MOUs with guys from APEC, and like we will speak about this soon in couple of let's say following or couple of weeks that will be in, or couple of next weeks we will speak about it this really nicely. And also I have to sorry, okay, there's some noise. And also I have to mention our new project that we are making with European Space Agency. It's a really nice satellite, so the contract is already signed. It will be a really nice mission that will start in I think next 2 years, if I'm correct, from August 2023 in 2 years. So in 25, it will be a modular platform. We will have our own AOCS system. So like the components is growing in our portfolio. So we are really happy that we are able to do this also with ESA. So my time is gone. So thank you very much for listening, and hope to see you and hear you in next days, weeks, or months. Thank you very much.
Andrei, thank you very much. Also
Thank
for
you so
keeping the
much.
time. So next we will go with Grigory.
Yeah, before Grigory starts,
Yeah.
I would like to ask chat to send us more questions for QA session. That would be very, very useful for us. So let me share Grigory's picture. Here you are. Grigory, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, thank you. So the topic of my presentation is technologies for interplanetary colonization. So I'm not going to pitch any particular technologies or products. So my goal here is just to give an overview of our strategies. So where we plan to invest, where we invest in as a venture capital firm. And yeah, so the smiling face is me. So we have invested like slightly above 200 million in 3 main areas. It's SpaceTech, it's artificial intelligence, and synthetic biology. 3 of them are like main pillars on which we are basing our strategy. So yeah, that's a little bit of philosophy, but we will skip it because we're short on time. So in our view, the approach to space colonization consists of 3 main areas. The first one is inhabit nearest space. The second one is colonize new celestial bodies. Here we're talking about closer, not distant celestial bodies. I mean, like Moon, Mars, and probably some satellites in solar system. And the last part is reinventing human to sustain in space. So to be more resistant to all the impacts which we will face in open space. So the first part, I mean, inhabiting near space consists of, so we showed it as a pyramid, which consists of 3 like waves of technological development. The first one is cargo and passengers, minimization of cost delivery and speed of transportation of this payloads to the orbit. The second one is building infrastructure to make kind of a base from where we can start moving further. So here we mean like inhabitants, stations, industrial facilities, and on the top of it, of the pyramid, so we see an energy production, because as we know, so now we produce only a few hundreds of kilowatts on the orbit, and it needs to be changed because level of development of civilization is measured by how much energy we produce, how much energy we can consume. So regarding first part, so we already made substantial success thanks to SpaceX and developing Starship. So the launch cost per kilogram substantially decreased and will decrease even more when Starship will start will be in use regularly, and mass production of this ship will take place. Also, several companies work in this place: Relativity, Rocket Lab, and one, of course, which presented today. So the second thing is building an infrastructure. Here, our top pick, where we invested already, is Axiom Space. That's kind of monopoly. So they planning to use International Space Station as a first step to connect their modules directly to ISS, and then start building their own station. And as previous speakers said, so there is some problems if you want to use, for example, Western technologies. You need to use Western space missions, and so the opposite is fair if you want to use. So, for example, Chinese technologies, you need to use Chinese missions and do all the researches on Chinese station as well. So Axiom Space is well positioned here. So they have contracts with 13 space agencies, different countries. And so, for example, in total, only 30 countries has their own space programs. So the second part is on orbit refueling. So here's an example of orbit fab. Small satellite launchers, again, regular artificial gravity. That's more distant thing, but still we will need to find a way how to do it in the right way. Space tourism should not be underestimated, because make everyone familiar with what is space, how to get there, is the clear path to have more engineers who will be interested in space. Yeah, and then subsequently we will have more progress in this industry. And 3D printing in space. So here is also some examples. Those are main pillars on which we believe we can build an infrastructure on the orbit. And the third one, energy, which we plan to start developing quickly from 2025 till 2040. Here we're talking about nuclear energy and solar thermal high power generation as the main sources of energy production, and as a source of energy for different types of, let's say, movers, solar cell propulsion and electric propulsion. By the way, solar thermal high power generation is already has like everything needed in terms of technologies to make this happen. So, for example, Rovial, what are they doing? They're building a system which consists of a big mirror and like a closed energy circuit, which divided by turbine and valve. And when this mirror hits one part of this circuit, so the gas starts moving through the turbine and producing energy. In the other part, so it's cooling down and coming back through valve into the camera where it's heated again. So like pretty genius thing. The second part is colonizing new celestial bodies. So here are three main pillars. So systems of living, life support systems, and resource utilization. So unexpectedly for this, we have almost everything in place in terms of technologies to build it and to sustain life on distant celestial bodies. We just need to start produce energy and to have enough capabilities, enough starships to move people there. Yeah, so here's technology examples. It's habit construction, energy generation. The important part is radiation protection, which can be achieved so in several ways. We'll talk about it a little bit later. food production, psychological support, life support systems, and the last one is waste recycling, minerals extraction, and taking resources from beneath the surface. And the last third part, which is like more, I think, inspiring. So inner space colonization and outer space colonization. Here we believe there is some kind of balance. So for inner space colonization, it makes sense to put more efforts in making human biology more resistant to all the impacts in open space. And for outer space colonization, so here we need to give a definition what we think colonization is, right? So just to move our biological bodies to distant destinations in the space, or to move our culture and our way of looking at the universe with, for example, our artificial twins. And here's the brief overview of what technologies we're investing in this sense. So for inner space, it's, like I said, enhanced radiation protection, genetic engineering, mostly microbiome manipulation, and synthetic organisms. For outer space, on our investment map is brain-computer interfaces. The brightest example is Neuralink. And of course, we will need substantial enhancement in in general artificial intelligence to be able to send it to distant destinations in space. And also convergence with robots. That's why we invest right now in 1X. So that's probably pretty much unique startup. So they're building robots driven by artificial intelligence, of course, and really efficient in terms of energy consumption. And the last slide is our investment map, so where we already invested. So by the way, we are partially exiting SpaceX now, because in our opinion, so there is still a lot to be proved by this company, but at the same time, so their valuation is not justified by their revenues at the moment, but it will. So in terms of adoption, we invested in Q-Control. So that's a quantum sensing producer. And also planetarians, which are literally turning waste to food. And probably the most interesting investment of ours is Cache DNA. Those guys are literally making kind of shells for DNA sequences to protect it from different influences, not only in space. So for example, if you know, so DNA could be preserved only in super low temperatures, not like super low, but low temperatures. With Cache DNA product, it could be preserved at high temperatures, at room temperatures, well, literally in any temperatures. So yeah, that's it. That's our overview. Hope I did it in time and it was interesting. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
5 seconds left, so you are in time.
Usual. Thanks.
Very nice presentation. Thank you very much. So the next will be Alex. So
yeah, thank you. I'll be very quick. So it's the last presentation before Q&A section. So again, my name is Alex. Beside SpaceTech and Gulf, I'm also a business development officer at SpaceAge. And now I'm going to present it to you. So we are quite fresh company, registered in summer this year. Basically, we are focused on 3 directions. It's drones, space industry, various, again, satellites, rocket engines, and so on and so forth, and air taxi. So we are service integrators. We are not developing those products. But we're looking for best of the best outside Saudi Arabia to bring them here in Saudi Arabia and integrate them into the space industry, developing space industry in Saudi. So again, about us, the company, again, it's very fresh one, but the founder's background, it's quite huge. So it's backed by professionals from various industries, mainly related to aviation, aerospace, from educational service industries, from investment industries, and so on. So basically, it's kind of a combination of experience registered recently in Riyadh. So what we're focused on, so we're quite interested in bringing various satellite equipment in Saudi Arabia, ground stations as well, and especially we're quite interested in launch services. Because again, Saudi and in GCC region in general will be quite like expanding their interest in space industry. So basically, those rockets and engines and so on will be very important for the future of the region. Yeah, we're also quite interested in satellite imagery services, observation, especially SAR as well, because again the demand is rising. The various government agencies and businesses or private business are quite interested to get those technologies and understand how do they work first, and then apply them in their services and their needs. Another section we are quite interested to develop is actually education. We consider that space education is quite important, and we are now building a space educational program that will be, I hope, integrated in local universities. So again, using our partners, we hope build very kind of interesting space education process that will rise space enthusiasts, space professionals, and the future leaders in Saudi Arabia. So again, I told you about our leaders, our leadership. So we do have a strong background in aviation, in education, and me especially in analytics. So that's briefly about us. You can find us on the web spaceage.com.sa, and please keep in touch. You also do have our SpaceTech in Gulf LinkedIn page. Please drop message if you're interested to communicate. So let's go back to your section and to our speakers.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. So I think we can naturally move on to Q&A and some networking and chat. So first of all, I would like to thank all presenters for very good presentations and everybody keeping the time. So I really appreciate that. So we have a couple of questions which I have received. If I miss anything, Alex or the communications team, please let us know. And if you just want to discuss anything or answer any question, because to be honest, I don't know updates on some of them, we can just talk, right? So let me just go through some of the questions we received. And 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Do you consider Saudi Arabia to be among the leaders of satellites and spacecraft launchers in the upcoming decade? Which countries from Gulf Cooperation Council may join this initiative? So I'll also punch the question on the chat so we can see it. Okay. So I can just say from my perspective, because I'm in this space for some time, I would say both countries have 2030 and 2040 initiatives, the both main economic drivers, which are United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. So they will definitely be the leaders in this region. This region consists of several other countries, which is Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Yemen. And these countries will definitely focus on building their own capabilities, in my opinion. So it might start with some purchasing of the components, but there will be a heavy push for made in United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. So in my opinion, the winners will be who can help to build a new generation of Saudis with the education segments Alex mentioned, and also the second winners who will be willing to move some of their capacities to the kingdom. Anybody else would like to answer this question? Or punch in some?
I'd like to join here and say that the third component is maybe cooperation, regional cooperation, because so far we got only 2 examples of cooperation between states, like it was UAE and Bahrain, or if I'm not mistaken, it was a joint initiative when they built satellites. So basically, it's cooperation will be quite important because again, the closest point for ground launch facility, it's actually Oman, and basically you will need Oman to send those rockets into space. So basically, that's why you need to cooperate, and for sure, cooperation is a key for success for the long perspective, I think, for the future.
Yeah, and I think, Alex, they already are building a spaceport right on the coast. I'm not sure if it's already ready, but I saw it a couple of years in the news. Also for the non-regional people from Europe and other countries, so GCC is a Gulf Cooperation Council, which is like a small European Union in the region of the local countries. And also I punched it in the chat, MENA region is Middle East, North Africa, which is also considered to be like a large economic region, mostly in the North Africa and Arab world. Okay, next questions we had on the chat. To be honest, I don't know how to answer, but it came from Ahmed. How can a non-profit social community specialized in land greening help to meet the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia Green Planting Commission plans? So I think this is this 1 billion trees initiative. So I assume from my side, it's obviously monitoring, maybe some drones who can plant the seed from the air. What do you guys think? Okay, so if nobody thinks anything, well, let me just move on to another question which we received. I'll put it to the chat. And then I think we had one more, and if there's nothing, we can just discuss whatever. Okay, there's a question which came not from the panelists, but it came from the attendees, from Igor. Igor, I'm not sure if you're still with us. How do the companies confront any regulations, interdictions imposed by the governments in order to continue the exploitation of space?
So for the first question, right?
Yeah.
How do companies confront any regulations imposed by governments in order to continue the exploration of the space? Well, I will be talking from a space launch provider point of view. Regarding rockets in the Middle East, we have zero ground regarding regulations regarding what governs the space and rocket services. So currently we are working with a couple of European advisors with a couple of governments to start the first draft, of course, build on the American ones to have an initial ground for an industry like rockets in the Middle East. So this is what we work on as well. It's not just the infrastructure and technology, but also regulations, because it's not there as well, which is challenging.
Thank you.
And also there is a
yeah.
nice, yes, I can see Andrei Farkas from SpaceTech. So the space is not overcrowded also by satellites, but it's also overcrowded by another things like space waste from rockets, from satellites that were like broken, etc., etc. So there are like many measures, but the information we had recently, for example, from ESA, and also this is the thing with the current project we are building, that on the satellite has to be some kind of active deorbiting system. So like with CubeSats, if we are speaking about CubeSats, the situation is quite nice because they are in space for, I think, approx 6 years. For example, the first Slovak satellite was launched in 2017, and it will be falling from the sky as a star in, I think, 4 days, if the calculations are correct. So we are speaking about let's say, max 6 years if on low Earth orbit. So and also we have to have some kind of active deorbiting system on the satellite. I think in 2 years, but maybe someone can correct me. But if I'm correct, in upcoming 2 years, you have to have on every satellite this type of system, and it's good. Yes, we appreciate this initiative.
Just for my curiosity, this deorbiting things, is it like an engine, or is it some moving device which will just change the direction?
Like it,
or
yeah, like it depends. I'm not a real expert in this, but it has to be some kind of propulsion, like chemical propulsion or ionic engine, or there are like many possibilities how to do it. But maybe guys from Needronics knows it much better. If we are speaking, maybe it is also possible to deorbit with ADCS system, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just for orientation, not for deorbiting.
Anybody from Needronics here who can maybe?
Sadly, personally, I can't add to this because I am not really an expert in this domain either. But
Yeah.
we were in talks with a company that does some thrusters that push the satellite back into the atmosphere to burn down. So that's an option we were also considering if such regulations would take place.
Yeah, and it's good that you just have to use it once, while you are deorbiting the system. So it can be like one purpose engine. So let's say it's quite nice, but it has to work because you can get a fine. I think there was a first fine given by FAA in United States regarding this thing that the satellite wasn't able to deorbit correctly.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Ibrahim, one of the participants. How much of the great work we have seen today? Sorry, Ankit, you would like to share? Okay, so I'll move on with the question from Ibrahim. How much of the great work we have seen today we are going to benefit Saudi Arabian people know how? So my opinion is what I mentioned, as I worked in the human capital for more than 2 decades. This is a transformation phase where I would believe the first is like as is mapping part, which might take a few years, but from as is we will move on to as it's going to be part, which will take 10 to 20 years, but the knowledge transfer has to happen, right? Number one, because Saudi Arabia has a mandate for Niticat 2, which in English means local workforce skills. So they will limit the number of foreigners in this type of roles, meaning that the knowledge transfer to the local population will have to happen, and they are doing it very, very well. Which the same happened in my home country 30 years ago, and now it's very successful. So I think it's on a very good track. Anybody else would like to mention anything on this topic of knowledge transfer to the local people? All right, thank you. Alex, I didn't capture any more questions, so we still have 9 minutes. So I would maybe just keep it open if people just want to network or ask anybody anything.
Yep.
And Ankit, thank you for your input. I can see it on the chat, so thank you.
Thanks, Boris.
Maybe if we can use the spare minute so you can tell us what the Soviet aerospace is doing a little bit.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry I joined late. Thanks to Onrej for sharing the link. So we are a SpaceTech startup based out of Bangalore. We are deploying a radio-based satellite infrastructure. It's infrastructure of around 66 nano satellites, 6U configuration that we are deploying. So what we are doing is that we are collecting radio frequencies from 100 megahertz to 18 gigahertz. And this is for signals and geospatial intelligence. We collect the direct radio signals originating from the maritime industry, such as AIS signals from the vessels, aviation monitoring signals, the ADSB signals from the aviation industry. And also for defense and security purposes, we also can geolocate the signal transmissions happening from any place on Earth, which certainly has some use cases on piracy of the things, geolocating dark vessels, all these activities. But at the same time, what we are also doing is that when these signals reach the satellite, they pass through different atmospheric layers. So when they pass through different atmospheric layers, we also analyze what are the different changes that are happening in these signals, through which we are able to determine the weather forecast of that particular area. So in total, a single satellite is basically able to provide the geospatial datasets and signals intelligence datasets under a same platform. So if we talk about from the use case perspective, currently, if we take the example of maritime industry, if a company is operating, let's say 100, 150 vessels, they need to buy tracking data from one company. They also need to buy situational awareness data, which is related to the height of the waves, nearby conditions, moisture profile, wind velocity, all these data sets from second company. And if in case the vessel goes dark in certain scenario, like due to pirate attack or due to any severe weather condition, they also need to buy synthetic aperture radar data to track that vessel. What is the real-time location of that vessel? But what happens with the synthetic aperture radar data is that the data is very costly at the moment. So companies cannot afford to buy a synthetic aperture radar data just to locate the ship at that particular point in time, if in case the vessel is more on the commercial side. So due to this, what is happening is that a single company is buying 5 to 6 different data sets from different companies, and then they are processing these data sets to actually take the decisions. So this is where a big problem happens, that if there is a resolution issue or accuracy issue with one data set, it actually comes to the platform, the end platform through which the customer is actually taking the decisions. So in our case, a single satellite is able to provide all these data sets with a single platform. And what customers get at the end is the decision intelligence instead of getting analytics or raw data on which they have to run their own analytics. So customers can directly get, this is the decision you can take in order to avoid the losses that you are incurring in that particular scenario. So at the end, the customer sees a dashboard, like how much fuel savings they have done, how much sulfur dioxide emissions they have saved, how much of operations efficiency they were able to bring by using these data sets. So this is something which we are doing, and our first mission is scheduled to take off in Q2 of next year. We have already tested the hardware, and with that, first 2 satellites are then again scheduled to be launched in Q4 of next year, 2024. So this is in brief what we are doing. And previously we have launched an imaging satellite as a part of a university satellite mission. So our satellite buses are currently at TRL-9, whereas the payload is more of TRL-6 to 7, and it will be tested in space with the Q2 2024 mission, which will certainly take us to the market stage after testing that payload.
Okay, Ankit, thank you very much. And I have shared your company information in the chat. So if anybody is interested in further networking, feel free to go ahead. Okay, so I'll hand over back to Alex as we are wrapping up.
Yeah, let me. Okay. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone, for participation. We are going to have a next webinar in a month. So I hope to see more attendees and more speakers from various regions who are interested in GCC region. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much.
guys
Have a nice
for
evening,
hosting
everyone.
us.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.